Welcome to Pyramid Times. What are the five pillars of consciousness?
The five pillars of consciousness. Okay. So it's interesting you ask this now because see, once we have some personal, our relationship with ourselves is, we tidy it up a bit, right? Then what happens is we want to go out into the world. But there are some basic understandings, some concepts about life that we must find our own personal harmony with at this point in time, right? In order to be effective in life, in order to allow, everyone wants their light to shine, but sometimes it's a little bit muddy because we have some old ideas that are very confusing. I know this from my own experience, yeah. So the five pillars of consciousness are based on five ideas that have both a spiritual and an ordinary interpretation. Okay. We must resolve ourselves to both the ordinary and the spiritual. Okay. The first one is, so the five. The first is incarnation, then authority, discipline, responsibility, and commitment. Okay. When these five concepts of consciousness have been updated, we'll say, the light that's within us shines out into the world. So here's how this goes, right? The first one is incarnation. That's all about accepting the reality of who we are as people. I come from a generation where everyone insisted in the 90s, everyone said, "Oh, I wasn't supposed to be me. I was supposed to be somebody else, or I'm a walk-in, or all this stuff." The fact of the matter is, your soul chose the person that you are, certainly not as a punishment, right? Your soul always makes good choices, for heaven's sakes. But the soul chose who you are because the truth is, you are the optimal human being for bringing your soul's purposes to life at this point in time. And so with incarnation, we look to see, do I recognize and appreciate who I am as a person? That I am the right person. I have the right personality, I have the right body, I have the right family, right? Now, I know many spiritual seekers have very uncomfortable human conditions, right? And the question is, can I love myself even though I have, physical, disabilities, challenges, even though, my family is a little bit upside down, whatever the circumstances are, right? We begin to understand that these are prime conditions for us to recognize who we are, to bring forth what we have, to do what we came to do. Okay. Then the next step is authority. Okay. Now the good news is also bad news that as human beings here on earth, there is always a human authority over us, whether it's a parent, a teacher, a boss, a government, right? The bank, whoever it is. We all have authorities. That's fine. Okay. What's tricky is that it seems, I don't know, certainly to me and to many others, that how is it that these terribly imperfect authority figures have so much power, right? When we begin to understand, working in the records, that perfect authority, the authority of life, comes through imperfect persons. Everybody's parents are terribly imperfect. Sometimes it's shocking to realize that they all did their very best. No parent on the planet wakes up and says, oh, today's the day I ruined my child's life. No, no one ever says that. Everyone really is doing their best. And if we want, as we desire, to be a good authority to ourselves, we must begin to respect the position of authority, even if the people are sometimes goofy, right? In so doing, we step into our rightful place in the circle of life, right? Because the power is flowing to us, right? It is flowing through us. And there are those that will come after us, whether our children, people we help, our friends, our neighbors, our communities, the greater world. But if I am having a negative judgment about an authority, that power cannot come in. And then I cannot be the transmitter I am here to be. Okay? Authority. The next one is discipline. So now we have all this power. Now what do? Discipline, right? From the word disciple, but what it means is to listen. Discipline gives us the structure we need to handle, to accommodate great power. People who are very powerful in the world are very disciplined, right? So the discipline has to do with establishing patterns of behavior that support us as we grow. What behaviors can I use to support myself so that I can grow? The interesting thing about discipline is that at some point we think, oh, this pattern is just, driving me crazy. At that point, change the pattern, get a new discipline. It's okay. We can change disciplines to reflect where we are on our journey. Next, we have responsibility. We have true responsibilities, false responsibilities. False responsibilities may look good, but they're always exhausting us, right? False responsibilities, you can't do enough and you can never get them right. That's how you know they're not yours. True responsibilities, it's the most interesting thing. True responsibilities can be a great deal of work and effort, but for some reason, we always are able to make a valuable contribution. Yes. So, what happens when there is a true responsibility? We are able to deliver, and it gives us a sense of satisfaction. Somehow, we're able to find the time, get the money, have the energy. It's the wildest thing, true responsibilities. And it turns out that true responsibility is like a crucible, right? It's a crucible within which our personalities are transformed, kind of like immature into our potential, right? Because the light of life, the goodness of who we are, comes through our personality. And we have to get some of the kinks out, right? It is through responsibility that we relinquish limiting patterns, that our old ideas, we find out they really have to go like out the window. It's through our responsibility. So we welcome them. Yes. And then finally, number 5 is commitment. Commitment's so interesting because, first of all, it's very still, whereas responsibility, busy, busy, busy. Commitment is still and it's fierce. And what it does is it is the consciousness that enables us to hang on in the bumpy parts of life. Sometimes life is bumpy. Don't take it personally. It's just life. Life is kind of funny, right? So commitment enables us to stay the course no matter what's happening, to persevere, to be deliberate, determined, thorough, to really be thorough in our quest, right? The other thing about commitment is that every path, like your path, my path, every path, I don't care what your path is, every path has hidden treasures. We always think, oh, I want the treasures, then I'll commit. Doesn't work that way. The path will give you its treasures after you commit. Okay. So as we commit, and you notice this in relationships, right? There are some relationships. I know people who say, I will once I have more evidence, once all these things happen, then I'll commit. Well, those things never happen because there's no commitment. There are other people who say, do you know, I think I might really be committed to this. They're committed in their heart and they see where it goes and the relationship flourishes. Do you see? So once we make a commitment, once we're aware of a commitment we've made in our heart, then the path returns to us. We become turbocharged, right? It really moves us along. With each one of these concepts updated, right, to who we are now in the life that we're living, what begins to happen is the light at the core of our being can shine through us freely. And other people, sometimes seekers will say things to me like, oh, I'm letting the light flow through me, but other people don't seem to understand. It may be because your ideas are a little bit outdated and you want to get current, right? It's like cleaning the windows to your house. Clean the windows and the light shines. That's the principle. And some of the most simple principles, as you know, are so effective. And it turns out they're very simple spiritual principles dominate the Akashic field.
That's very awesome.
Yes.
So for the past 3 decades, you have doing this work, and what is Linda Howe Center for Akashic Studies is about?
Okay.
And how does this online classes work, and what is delivered to
Okay.
this?
So first let's talk about, so we have a couple of things here. So first we'll talk about the reason for the school. Yeah. My observation early on, but when I first started doing this, there were very few people who knew what the Akashic Records were, right? The first 20 years was all about explaining the Akashic Records. Nobody knew anything. And what they knew was really very, I don't know, it didn't make a lot of sense. It was kind of scary, actually. Okay, that's all fine. So the first thing is that in truth, we are a bridge generation. Those who've gone before us did not have access to the records the way we do. Secular people until the 90s did not have a reliable way to connect with the records. People who had were exceptional. People like Edgar Cayce, truly exceptional. But he was unconscious and couldn't teach anybody. So in the 90s, what came about was the opening, right? And so because those before us didn't know, they don't even know what it is, right? And those after us will not need classes. Okay, but good training is really important. We are the bridge generation. We deserve good training. I think anybody who wants to work in the record deserves. It's like you really deserve the best training. Once you know how to do this, you know how to do this, right? In this work, in all spiritual work, you can help a lot of people, including yourself. You can also, if you don't know what you're doing, you can really hurt people. You can hurt people with misunderstanding and crazy ideas. So I am deeply committed to outstanding training, excellent training in the Akashic Record that empowers practitioners. So that's why the school came together. Okay. The other thing is that, like with my books, my first book came out in 2009. At that time, there were no books on how to read the Akashic Records. Zero. It was the first book like it. Kind of made me nervous. Anyway, now if you go, there are all kinds of people talking about how to read the records. You want to really use your head, right? You want to take your common sense to your practice, right? Because some of the people are very good and some of them really don't know what they're talking about. And you want to, the spiritual journey is sacred, and you do want to take care of yourself along the way. Okay, so in the school there are 5 core courses, right? And it used to be everything was in person, right? Everything now, nothing's in person, everything's online. It's like, wow, what a change this is. Yes. So the first class is the practitioner certification, right? Where you learn the method, right? And because it's a certification, I mean, there's some work involved, right? This is like, you don't just like make dinner and listen to the recording, you have to participate, right? Anyway, so we have the practitioner certification is about the method. Then the advanced practitioner, we cover energy healing, clearing unwanted ancestral patterns, and past lives, right? Now, what I know is the people who come to my classes have natural desire, talent, ability. That's never the question. And, I certainly can't give that to anybody. What they don't have are skills that support the usefulness of their talent. And so in these classes, we progressively develop the skills we need, right, to help ourselves and others. In healing through the records, right, in that class, we really work with the application of the core spiritual principles revealed to me through my work in the records about how do we grow from being victims to free people? How do we do that? Right? That's in your healing class, making peace with ourselves and others. And then you know how to do it with your clients if you want. I mean, there's some people who want to work with others, some people who don't. It doesn't matter. Whatever's best for you, I know you'll do. Okay. Then we have the soul's path practitioner. And in that class, which I really love, right, we do the 5 pillars of consciousness. It's very exciting, right? And so we learn we do the work ourselves, and we learn how to work with others with each step. The 5th class, which is inspired manifesting through the Akashic Records, bringing your soul's purposes to life. Right. And this is really, I mean, to me, this is the latest work. It's very, very exciting. Right. Um, in this work, what we do is we learn how to identify and express the deepest truths of who we are. We learn how to go beyond obstacles, limitations, whether they're people or situations, right? And as we learn how to do this, we can take it forward in our lives, and we can take it forward with others if we choose. So that, because see what happens, anybody who's on the planet right now came with a very long list of things to do. And so we will keep, right? These are questions that keep us going, they keep us alive. Yes. And then after the 5 core courses, we also have the teacher training, right? We now have the entire teacher training online. It's called Fast Track. Do you know, it's so funny. The pandemic, I swore I would never do a teacher training online. I'm doing a teacher training online. But it's like, right? And so does that answer your question? So actually the manifesting, I'm doing a live online in January. It's a 5-week course. It's going to be I'm very excited about it, but we have that coming up. The teacher training is like an independent study, and people who are interested can do that. The new book will come out January, I believe it's the 13th. So we have a lot going on here. There are certified teachers who teach the classes, who are qualified to give certifications. So like if someone takes classes with a certified teacher, I recognize, and wants to take like the teacher training, that's great. Come on, um, we don't honor, like other people will say, oh, I once learned this thing about how to open the records. No, this is we work with the pathway prayer process that was given to me in 2001. It's a very specific access, and it's into the heart of the records, right? So it's very moving, actually. It touches, it's rooted in the heart. So we work with that access. It's effective, it's powerful, it's safe. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah,
What
it's
else?
so amazing. Yeah, this is so nice. And what is your parting message to our viewers? And what would you like to see the future hold?
It's a very interesting question, right? Just thinking about it is like, oh, it's a big question. Yes. So here's what I know. I know that every person on the face of the earth right now, everyone who has made the choice to be on the planet in these times of profound transformation, as the old is falling apart, the new is, we're not quite so sure where the new is yet, it's coming through, right? This is a global sweep in the transformation of human consciousness and evolution. Everyone who's here, no matter what thoughts you may have about yourself, no matter what your fears might be, you are here because you have a part of this. I know that as we learn how to identify, recognize, embrace, experience, and express the true purposes of our soul, which are fundamentally spiritual, the soul's purposes are about the unique individual ways in which each one of us can experience and express love, right? There is no substitute for who you are. Yes, other people may be able to fulfill your tasks. Nobody can do it the way you do it. And so do not underestimate your value. And know that your soul's purposes, the desires you have had in your heart since you were little, are exactly what the world needs right now. I know that we are on our way, right, to a time in history when all human beings recognize that they have within them everything they need to bring their soul's purposes to life for their own empowerment and for the uplift of one another. And these are times of it's a time of sacred honor. And I am delighted that we could be on the planet together at this time, waking up together and sharing the truth in big ways and in small. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Linda. It's so great to be with you today.
Thank you, my darling.
Please visit the Linda Howe site, and also all the social media channels will be published below this video. You can refer to those sites, and if you are interested in enrolling the courses, you can get in touch with the team of Linda Howe. And going forward, we'll also be coming up with the classes with Dr. Linda Howe. And with this, I thank you, the viewers, for this wonderful time.
Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you.